So I first heard about this challenge by another YouTuber called LavenderTowne, and she is an absolutely fantastic comic artist, and she had actually taken some other works by Van Gogh and transformed them into her quite unique style, and I thought, oh my goodness, I would absolutely love to do that. As you can see, I'm just making a quick little colour palette from the original painting just so I can keep it as authentic looking as possible. And you'll see in a minute that I actually go around the painting and sketch around the basic structure just so that I do get the real feel of this painting in my cartoon. I think when you're doing a parody of something, it's really important to get it as close to the original as possible. So now I'm sketching around, and I already know exactly what I'm going to do, and it's one of the silliest paintings I think I've ever done. But, you know, it is fun. So now, as you can see, as I'm going into the line art, I've got a really clear idea of where everything should be, even though I'm not necessarily paying attention to the exact structure that Van Gogh uses. I'm making sure that I've got everything where it should be, and then I can implement my own style on top of that. At this point in the sketch, I didn't really want to make my line work too pristine, as I knew I'd be going back over it several times, so I just kept everything quite organic. So I'm not beating myself up about lines overlapping, because I'm just going to be going back over them. I'm actually trying out an Affinity photo for this time lapse. I heard that it was one of the main contenders for Photoshop and Photoshop Illustrator, so I've been playing around with Affinity, both photo and design, just seeing how I like the feel of it, how I like the way that the vector work goes for some of my more commercial projects. What you'll notice later in this video is that I've not quite got the fill setting down, so occasionally the line work will seep, and this is still something that I'm working on within this program, and I think everything just needs breaking in. Please note that you should be saving your Photoshop work all the time that it's happening, because you don't want an occasion where your program crashes, like has happened to me on so many occasions, and it's singularly the most painful thing. So when I thought about making a parody off of a Van Gogh work, I did initially think that maybe I'd like to try a portrait, but then I thought I'd try something a little bit out of the box and go for a still life. And naturally, I can't take anything seriously, so I decided to make these really adorable little cartoon characters, all with very exaggerated facial expressions. And I'm really pleased with how it turned out, actually. I love how all the characters are conflicting, and how some of them are in arguments, and as you can see, I'm just sketching over, trying to nail down the final design before I go in with the final line work. I really didn't get on well with this face at all, so it ended up being one that I left and came back to. I just wasn't quite getting the full disgust that he gets at the flowers next to him, so I decided to leave it and come back. And here I'm much happier with how the final design turned out, especially with the pupils going off in different directions. work on this actually took me the longest that any colour work has taken me for a really, really long time. And I think that's just because I was trying to sort of encapsulate that impressionistic style, as well as balancing it with the more simple cartoon style that you'd say get in a lot of TV shows, where the colouring's got to sort of move well with the animation, so it can't afford to be too complex. But even so, I did end up spending quite a lot of time just trying to get the right balance, using some sort of less traditional colour pairings and still trying to make it look like the original. One of the things I actually love about Van Gogh's painting, and also the painting of his sort of contemporaries like Gogh, is the way that he uses colour. And so if he's painting something like a tree, he won't just stick to the traditional, brown and green and maybe a bit of yellow if you're feeling adventurous, but he'll go in with blues and pinks, and it's something that I love using in my own work. I used to sit in front of his paintings and just stare and study his use of colour for, as long as they would let me sit and stare so up close to a Van Gogh painting. But I really think that it takes an accomplished artist to do it as well as he did, and it's something that I'm still working on, just getting the balance exactly right. I don't think I did a terrible job.
You're always trying to forget. You're always wanting to pretend. I see right through your selfish ways. Not too bad, I know how to face.
This is the point where I found that the fill tool was really giving me some trouble. It just wasn't recognising some of my lines, and I found that it took me about twice as long as I was just correcting myself over and over again. I did manage to get it eventually, but it definitely took me far too long. And thank you very much for watching my rather silly attempt to take an iconic painting and make it into a cartoon. If you liked it, you can actually get it in full resolution on my website, and the link is in the description there. You can also get it as a black and white print if you would prefer to colour it in yourself. I know how that's all the rage at the moment. But until next time, have a good one.